And welcome back to Soul Healing with the ETs. I'm Alex. And most of us think of ourselves as being a human body with a soul inside of it. Or a heck of a lot of people just think of themselves as being a human body with zero thought of having a soul inside. And they think that the only reason that they're here on earth is because their parents conceived them and they're here to have a life, and then they die and it's game over. Nothing could be further from the truth. As we've discussed in previous episodes, we, and by we I mean our soul, chooses our parents, and they choose us. Our soul chooses our gender and our sexuality, chooses our race, chooses the country that we'll be born in, and so much more. But most importantly, our soul chooses its mission and the challenges that it wants to accomplish in this lifetime. Our soul, which is from a much higher dimension, a dimension of great intelligence, incarnates into a human body to be able to experience physical matter here on earth. And we, the human bodies, are the vehicle our soul uses to achieve its objectives. Our soul wants us to carry out its mission, as it is our soul that has planned out the life that we, the humans, are living, well, at least the great majority of it, even though most of us are not remotely conscious about this. Thus, healing the soul, which is the objective of this podcast, is partially accomplished by helping our soul complete its mission. And since part of our soul is here in the human body, we need a proper functioning body for us to be able to carry out our soul's objectives. The healthier our body is, the more easily and effectively energy can circulate through it, and then our soul can express itself more easily. The human body is a highly sophisticated living organism composed of trillions of microscopic cells that work together in an organized way to sustain life. The human body does not need any laboratory created infusions to fight an apparent virus, as viruses don't even exist in nature. Now, bioweapons created in a laboratory, they exist, and many of them have patents and are not at all in the best interests of humanity or our health. Those of you, like me, who regret taking any of the COVID infusions or any other infusion like flu or donkey pox or Hep A, Hep B, whatever, fear not. As we raise our frequency, as we raise our vibration, as we raise our consciousness, those infusions that we took, the ingredients will dissolve, and our bodies will expel them through pee, poo, and sweat. Now, when we think that we have a cold or a flu or COVID, for example, what is rather happening is that our body is constantly absorbing and ingesting contaminants, toxins, and poisons Let's, for the remainder of the video, let's just call these categories toxins. And at some point, our body says, enough, and wants to detoxify, to expel those toxins. Just like an air conditioner needs to defrost from all the caked up ice that is impeding its proper functioning system. Our bodies all have a natural cleansing network, and that is what is at work when we think that we are sick. Rather, we are cleansing. So the symptoms that the body produces, such as fever or stuffy nose or runny nose or aches and mucus, diarrhea, are not from a virus, but rather the human body's own highly intelligent waste removal system getting rid of toxins. So just like the air conditioner getting rid of the built-up ice that is preventing its smooth operating system. So the medical industry conveniently labels these symptoms as being caused by a virus to sell us laboratory-produced products that our body does not need, that contaminate us with side effects, slow us down, make us dumber, and easier to control. What our body is actually doing is getting rid of toxins. It is detoxifying. It is cleansing. If your body is overheating, running a fever, that's our body trying to burn off toxins by elevating its temperature. And we don't want to suppress the symptoms because that doesn't get rid of the toxins. So what we rather want to do is to alleviate the symptoms and let the body do the work that it was designed to do. If your body is telling you that it's tired, I wouldn't eat a whole bunch of food, because your body wants to focus on making you better. So if you weigh it down with a whole bunch of food, then it has to redirect the energy that it wanted to spend healing you into digesting food instead. So it will take longer for you to heal. That is also why it's not wise to eat late at night, as our body uses sleep time to repair, to restore, to rejuvenate itself. So if we eat, it moves that energy into digestion. I'm the worst example for eating late at night, and I just don't seem to be learning or listening to myself. But that said, I have eliminated stacks of contaminants and poisons from my body. So today, I want to jump into things that I've done to make my body function better, and thus not only feel better, but also feel younger and in much better overall shape than I was years ago. Many of us eat way too much food. It creates a lot of stress on our bodies that have to break down all this food, and steals valuable energy away that we could be putting into much better use, like carrying out our soul's mission, and instead of constantly having to digest. Digesting can easily fatigue many of us and puts a lot of strain on our organs. Our bodies don't actually need that much food to be satisfied and working optimally. Think of an animal out in the wild. They don't eat all the time, and they seem to function very well. I know eating is fun, and food producers are always marketing at us to eat more and more and more. And then there's these fun all-you-can-eat buffets where we go and we want to get our money's worth, so we just gorge ourselves. But there's also an ulterior motive for our controllers wanting us to eat a lot. It weighs us down, it fatigues us, it makes us lazy and easy to control. If we were all super fit people with brains working efficiently, we would be extremely hard to control. A big issue is that so many of the foods these days are laden with chemicals, herbicides, pesticides, fertilizers, deliberately aimed at dumbing us down and slowing us down and making us sick by infiltrating into our tissues and organs and impeding their proper functioning. As if our governments don't know this, right? That's the importance in trying to eat foods that are as clean as possible. That is, without too many contaminants. I often wonder even if organic foods are that organic. And that's why if you live somewhere where you can go and see a farmer, or go to a farmer's market, you can ask the vendors this type of questions. Finding a good source of clean water is extremely important, as tap water is laden with chemicals, even though they say it's filtered. I use a reverse osmosis system in my kitchen at home that sits on the kitchen counter. And I used to guzzle tap water like there was no tomorrow. Today, I take 2 sips of tap water and I'm basically spitting it back out. I'm sure some contaminants are taken out of the tap water, but how many actually are? There are hundreds or thousands of different toxins out there. And just think of all the toxins that are in the air floating around, toxins from the chemtrails that are being spread by airplanes, to toxins coming out of any old airplane, to toxins that are coming out of cars and trucks and buses and ships and trains and plants and factories. And all this is floating through the air, largely invisibly, and lands in our rivers and our lakes and our oceans, which is the very same areas that our drinking water is coming from. How about all the toilet water that's laden with pee and poo and pharmaceutical pill residues, recreational drug residues, wastewater coming out of garages and factories and plants and whatever else people throw in toilets? And how about the toilet bowl cleaners that we use to clean the inside of the toilet bowl? They have chemicals in them. Well, all that gets flushed into our water supply. Perhaps it's filtered some, perhaps it's not. But that's often the same water that comes back into us as tap water. So city employees will tell you, water's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, right. There is no way in heck that all the toxins are taken out. Then our organs and tissues have to deal with all these toxins that make us sick. You can tell just by doing a taste test between tap water and water that has come out of a good water purification system that the two don't at all taste the same. Now, bottled water, they also have a whole bunch of toxins in them. The obvious one being microplastics that build up in the body. And some of them get into our brains. So much fun. Microplastics are invisible to the human eye and are everywhere. Even our toothbrush bristles are made of plastic. And when you're, brushing your teeth, there are minuscule shards of plastic that come off, and then obviously they get swallowed, or many of them get swallowed and go into our system. Think of when you get takeout food and they give you plastic utensils and your food comes in a plastic container. Well, every time that we take those cheap plastic forks and scrape the bottom of the container, well, that's liberating some microplastics from the fork and from the container. Those get mixed in with the food, and then we ingest those. Think of how we run the plastic fork or spoon through our teeth with every mouthful, and then each time we do that, there's a little bit of particles coming off of it. They're engineered to do this. Think of the plastics that are in the microwavable food, in our water, floating around in the air so that we breathe them in. Supermarket foods, like the foods that are in plastic bags at the supermarket, part of that plastic is disintegrating and getting into the food. Or even how about the plastic bags that we put our fruit and vegetables in before we take them home? I've even read that the average human has about a credit card's worth of plastic in our brain. American Express must be very proud. Whew. Glyphosate is a herbicide found in many crops like oats, corn, wheat, soybean, almonds, chickpeas, and over 200 million pounds of this shit is sprayed yearly throughout the USA, and only in the USA, as a weed killer and to help dry out crops more quickly. The residues end up directly in the food, and then we eat it. And it's not listed in the ingredients because it's a herbicide. So glyphosate is the active ingredient in Roundup. And people spray Roundup around their home and on their lawns to kill weeds. Then we, our babies, our kids, our cats, our dogs, go out in the same grass, often barefoot, and we play in it, and we roll around in it, and we play games in it, and then we track this stuff into our homes, and the dogs and the cats bring it back into the house with them. And then, as we're walking around the house barefoot, it gets absorbed into our bodies. These farmers use it as spray on their crops. Do you guys see something wrong with this picture? The crops would die because glyphosate kills weeds. So they genetically modified the crops to be glyphosate resistant. Now we're eating herbicides and we're eating genetically modified foods. Aren't we lucky? Do you want to be eating weed killer? As if nobody in the government knows about this. And we pay their salaries and expenses so that they take care of us. Yeah, what a joke. My advice? Well, I buy glyphosate-free organic oats. I buy my bread at the health food store, same with hummus, and I try not to use plastic forks and spoons. But, we can't eliminate this crap 100%. All we can do is reduce it by being smart. these toxins are real, and they do afflict us by building up in our tissues and organs. They slow us down much more than we think they do. They make us sick and linger in us for years and impede our body and brain from working efficiently. So the less toxins that we take in, the less we shall be sick, the more energy we shall have, and the more chance we give our body to be the efficient machine that it's supposed to be. This in turn will help our soul function more effectively, as we need our soul, obviously functioning effectively within us, and then we will be able to better understand what it wants us to accomplish. The more aligned that we are with our soul's purpose, the less sick we shall be, as we are aligned with what our soul wants us to do. The idea here is to raise awareness and help us achieve a longer, healthier, and easier lifestyle by giving some tips that I have followed and have helped me get into overall better shape. When I do get sick, or rather when I detoxify, the detox does not last very long anymore, nor do I feel that ill, as I've eliminated and reduced many toxins. I think there are 6 main ways that toxins get into our bodies. There's the toxins that we breathe in from the air, the ones obviously that we're eating through our food, water and other drinks that we're drinking, the pharma pills that we ingest, and what are the middle 4 letters of pharma? All those pills have side effects. Many infusions developed in a laboratory, products that we put in our skin, and we should also add in synthetic vitamins because they're not natural. So when shopping for vitamins, I go to an old-fashioned health food store, and I talk to the naturopath who's on site, or the health store pro, and I always ask them what they recommend for the best bang for the buck, and whether I'm buying vitamins, minerals, or amino acids. We do not want to buy commercial brands that have aggregates or synthetics in them. Water, fluoride, whatever the full chemical name is a residue from aluminum plants. And instead of disposing of it properly, it is added into the water supply, and then we ingest it through tap water. Sounds delicious, doesn't it? Aluminum effluent, yum, yum, yum. Nice to know that our politicians are out there taking great care of us, eh? I remember going to the dentist when I was a kid, and the hygienist would use this little tooth tray, and she would have one for my upper teeth and one for my lower teeth, and she would fill it with this purple fluoride solution, and she would put them in my mouth for a couple minutes, and she would say, "This will fortify your teeth." And then that stuff always tasted like shit. And then one day I threw up, like I had puke all over me. And then she had to clean it up. And I never used that stuff again, and she never offered it to me again. And today I use toothpaste that has no fluoride in it. I buy it at the health food store. And when my present hygienist, when she does a dental cleaning, I always turn down her offer for a fluoride polish to buff up the teeth. And my teeth are just fine. They're strong and I rarely get any cavities. Fluoride helps to calcify our pineal gland. Our pineal gland is our third eye. And it's our antenna to our soul and to source. So that's why they put it in the tap water. As if our controllers don't know what they're doing, right? They are trying to disconnect us from source and prevent us from finding out where we actually are from and why we are here. I suggest finding a water filter that takes out fluoride as well as many other contaminants. I've also heard that putting a small copper pyramid, it's about this tall. So let's say that you get a larger container to hold your water in, like a crock or so on, and you can put this copper pyramid in the bottom of it, or else you can also tie a string of quartz crystals that you would leave hanging in the water, and you want it in the water for at least 24 hours. And the copper or the quartz crystal, they neutralize any of the chemicals that are in the water. I haven't done this, but I've seen videos of people doing it and swearing about it. But you could always try it and then do a taste test with the regular tap water. Food. The brighter and flashier the food is at the supermarket, then there's a good chance that product is not good for us. Look on the ingredients on the back of the package. If there's a whole bunch of ingredients that you don't understand, and I sure don't, then it's probably a good idea to pass on that food and eat real food that was designed by source for our journey here on Earth. If something is genetically modified, it will have some side effect within our body, and our body is not created for genetically modified food. Air. There's not a whole bunch that we can do to prevent breathing in the toxins that are in the air, but on the days where they are spraying chemtrails heavily in the skies, I would suggest closing your windows, limiting your time outside, and turning on the air conditioner or just running fans within the house. As what they are spreading up there is aluminum and graphene oxide and barium and strontium and many other deliciously disgusting things that are not good for humans, animals, birds, or plants. Great thing that we have a loving government that allows all these toxins in our environment, eh? But, you know, as I've mentioned in other podcasts, from our soul's perspective, it's just an experience. Let us not forget that our souls are eternal beings. They never die. And that we are living in a very low dimension, in a very harsh environment, even though it is so beautiful and can be so much fun. And let's also not forget that we are living in a simulation, as we explored in episode 11, and we'll be doing another episode on that soon. Okay, that's enough for today. And I want to continue this video into part 2 in the next video because I have a whole bunch of other things to bring up. But I do hope that I brought up some good points for you to ponder over. And if you think that the good points were made, please give it a thumbs up so that more people can see this video as well. And if you know a friend that would benefit from hearing information like this, please send the video along to them. And I'd like to dedicate this video to Jesus. And thank you for tuning in to Soul Healing for the with the ETs. Solid choice. See you on the next one.